Yeah, the one with the tube. Okay. On the closure. Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome. As I begin, it still didn't sink in. Well, I've done many funerals, but this is a little different, or a lot different. It's hard to believe that we're sitting here bidding farewell to someone so special, someone so near and dear to so many. Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, famously said that there's a time for everything under the sun. There's a time to plant, to reap, to celebrate, to sing, to dance. And then he says also there's a time to mourn. This afternoon, we are gathered here to mourn. And as I told yesterday, Michelle's two beautiful sons, I said, there are no words. But nevertheless, the Torah says we should say some words, so I'm going to share. But those words don't really capture this very special individual and the fact that we're sitting here today. It's customary, we begin a Jewish funeral with the Kriya. The Kriya is the rendering of one's garments. The immediate family rip the garments next to their heart to tell us that someone so special, someone so near and dear was torn away from us. This is a custom going back for thousands of years. When Jewish people mourned, they ripped a part of their clothing on the chest to remind us how terrible this is and how the world will never be the same. But I also want to point out and say that the Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, gives a very comforting explanation, and I want to share it because it's important for really everyone here. And that is that we tear our garments. Our garment is not us. That's not me. That's just my shirt or my jacket. The Kabbalah says the body is a garment for the soul. Our true identity is our soul, is our neshama. And while the body was torn away from us, the neshama, the soul, the true essence will always be with you. So I want, especially the family, the friends, I'm saying family and friends, but I feel like anyone who ever met Michelle from the first time they met her, they already felt like family. She had this gift of making you feel so comfortable, so close, so connected. So I'm going to ask the family, those who are willing, we're going to do the Kriya. And then we'll make the blessing, the Baruch Dayan HaEmet. So I can have those who are ready for. So in just a minute, we're going to do right now I just want to begin with a psalm by King David, as King David's words have a special way of bringing comfort to the journey of the soul as the soul ascends and return to its source in heaven. I'll say it in Hebrew and then in English. Shir lamalo yisesay na yalahari meyayin yavi ezri meim adina yoyse shamayim varetz al yitain lamoit raglecha al yanum shemrecha hine lo yanum v'layishan shem yisrar ladrei shemrecha netzilcha yad yaminecha yimim hashemesh leyakecha v'yereyach v'layla adina yishmarcha mikol ra yishmeres nafshecha adina yishmar tzeischa v'yecha meyata v'yadeilam. A song of ascent. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help will come from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot falter. Your guardian does not slumber. Indeed, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. The Lord is your protective shade by your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. The Lord will guard your soul. The Lord will guard your going and your coming now and forever. Wow. You see something very special here. I'm going off script a little bit here, but you see a family, a big mishpacha together. And I know a little bit what it means because I have 8 children. And to come together for such a thing is definitely very, very difficult, very painful, very sad. And so truly unbelievable. Michal, Rivka, Michelle, Rebecca was born on Wednesday, January 20th, 1982. On the Hebrew date, it was the 25th of Tevet at Rose Hospital. And to go from no coincidence that she was born at Rose Hospital is going to be laid to rest at Rose Cemetery. And passed away this Shabbat, the 20th of Elul. It's known as Shabbat Slichot, the Shabbat when Jews around the world stay up at night to say the slichot where it says the gates to heaven are open. And that's the Shabbat that Michelle passed away. Where we read V'hayaki tavo el haaretz. It's going to be when you coming to the land, but really refers to Eretz, refers to returning to God. And that's when this special neshama, the special soul returned to God up in heaven. Michelle had a very special gift, the gift that not many Jews, religious Jews, rabbis, not too many people could say they were raised in Jerusalem, in the holy city of Yerushalayim, in the Neve Yaakov, if I got it right, the community of Neve Yaakov. She went to Beit Yaakov schools, and from a young age, she already became known as the mitzvah girl. Always full of kindness, always offering to help, whether it was a family member or whether it was a stranger. Always there, always offering, doing, making things happen. As a young girl, she loved to go to the kotel and pray and then meet her father who worked not too far from the kotel, from the Western Wall. For such a special soul, her upbringing had to be in such a special and holy city. And then after returning to the States, or in Florida, she had a bat mitzvah at Chabad with Rabbi Pinney, who was my cousin. And he also shared how special Michelle was. And as a young adult, she joined the Air Force, which already says so much about her. In addition to her kindness, to standing up, to taking upon herself responsibility in such a special way. The Air Force took her to Qatar and other places where she had tremendous impact in many ways and whoever she met. But even through being in the Air Force, she was always kept that spirit of joy, that spirit of life with her wherever she went. As the family shared with me, that her commanding officer actually punished her for not being serious. She was smiling, even when he ordered her to be serious. And even after she was punished, she still couldn't get the smile off her face. And this happened again and again until we finally coined the phrase and the name, which became her name. And I hope it's okay I say this, but I think it really shows how special she was. She became known as Happy Ass Geller. Happy Ass Zeller, correct. Who she never ever lost that spirit, never ever lost that joy, regardless of where she was and what she was doing. Michelle was a very proud Jew. From the very first time I met her, you were able to see that spark in her eyes, the joy when she spoke about the holidays, the chagim, her dedication to her children, when it came to Judaism and everything else, was truly, truly remarkable. She loved celebrating the Jewish holidays, doing Shabbat with her family, whether it was Hanukkah, the special sufganiyot, the powdered donuts, lighting the menorah, you're making sure there were gifts every night of Hanukkah, and of course making sure to get pictures of everything happening and the posing with the celebration of Hanukkah. Michelle loved making challah, celebrating Shabbat. She loved the Itamar would sing Eshet Chayil for her, the woman of valor. And when Itamar didn't do it loud enough, she made sure to tell him, louder, sing it loud and proud. She loved getting flowers for Shabbat. She really loved celebrating life. Michelle loved her family. She looked after her family, was always there for them in every way possible. I remember that whenever I met Michelle and the kids would come, Gabe was always there too. And bringing her to shul, whatever it was, he was always right there. You're able to see the love, the dedication, the commitment in such a special, beautiful, and holy way. Her dear husband and the two wonderful children, David and Daniel, I was able to see tremendous dedication through difficult times and good times. Whether visiting in the hospital and other times, I was able to see a connection, a love, an unconditional love, a powerful love that she had for you in such a special and beautiful way. She really did love her family. And not long before Michelle passed, she connected with both of her sons. David and Daniel told them how much she loved them and how she looks forward to celebrating with them and watching them walk down the aisle after they graduate and holding their children one day and celebrating. Reminding them of the unconditional love. King David says, Rabot machshavot belev ish. People have many plans and ideas, but really we don't understand God's ways. And to this too, we do not understand. We can't make any sense of this. Michelle, as you all know, did not have an easy life. But something remarkable that I saw in the family reiterated to me again and again, she never ever gave up. And something amazing, thinking about Michelle over these last days, is that in Judaism, we find something fascinating. Find the Hebrew name, which we're given at birth, is not our parents only choosing a name. A secular name is for our ID, for your passport, for your papers. It's really to identify one person from another, and we shouldn't confuse two people. But the Torah says when it comes to a Jewish name, God actually plants the name of that individual into the parents or whoever it is giving the name. Because it's a form of divine prophecy. That when we name any parent who names their child, it's actually nivuah, prophecy. Why? Because the name in Judaism is connected to the etzem haneshama, to the essence of the soul. And when you look at somebody's name, you can understand who they are. When you study somebody's name, you could see a piece of them connected to their core, to their essence. And Michelle's Hebrew name, Michal Rivka, there's so much you could talk about that I could stand here all day talking about this uniqueness of this special name, but I want to just share one thought. The numerical value, there's something in Hebrew called gematria. Gematria is every Hebrew letter has a number. Aleph is 1, the last letter Tuf is 400, and in the middle of each, and when you find the number to a name, you can connect it to other words in Judaism and the Torah. The name Michal Rivka, the gematria is 407. 407 is the gematria, the numerical value of Michelle's full Hebrew name. And that's the same gematria as Raphael HaMalach, the angel Raphael. It says there's an angel who comes down to this world to bring healing, to bring comfort, to bring light to those who are needing it. And when I saw this, the exact gematria for Malach Raphael is the same gematria as Michelle's Hebrew name, which is not such a common name, but those two names, Rivka is common and Michal is common, but Michal and Rivka together is not such a common name. And together, it's 407, the same gematria, the same numerical value as the angel Raphael, who is known to bring healing to the world. And that's, I think, if you think about it, that's really who Michelle was and who Michelle is, to bring special comfort, kindness, goodness to wherever she went. I want to share one last thought really to the family, and then we're going to ask them to please come up and share some special words. The Talmud says something very strange. The Talmud in Tractate Tanit says as follows. If you look at the Torah, If you look at the Bible and when it talks about Jacob, our forefather Jacob, it says, Yaakov, it never says the word Vayamat Yaakov, that Jacob died. So the Talmud says, that's it. From here we see Jacob never died. So the Talmud says, what do you mean he never died? Of course he died. We mourned him. We buried him. We know where he's buried in Hebron in Israel. Of course Jacob died. What does it mean? How can you say he never died? So the Talmud says, no. What we're saying here is something very deep and meaningful. And that is, physically, Jacob's not here. But, and I quote the Talmud says, Ma zaro b'chayim, afhu b'chayim. If his children carry on his legacy, then in a way Jacob is still alive. So I want to share this Talmud with you because Michelle had a very special family, and especially two beautiful, wonderful boys who are going to continue this legacy of goodness, of kindness. And I want you to know that wherever you go in this world, whatever happens, and I only wish only wonderful things, I can guarantee you one thing. Your mom will always be by your side. Your dear mother will always be there, being a Melitz Yosha, seeking out up in heaven, pulling all the strings up in heaven by God, that God should bless you to give you whatever you need. An abundance of health, happiness, and arichut yamim, long, healthy, and happy years. And her love doesn't stop today. Her love only adds. So she's always going to be there, adding more blessing, more light, and more goodness to your life, and you will feel it. You will feel it. And now I want to call up my dear son David to please come up and share some special words.
Hi, everyone. So good afternoon. Before I begin talking about my mom, I wanted to thank everyone who came and have been supportive through this very difficult time. In the simplest way to describe my mom, because I could talk about who she was for hours. She was a mother to me and Daniel, a daughter to her father, a sister to all of her brother and sisters, a wife to Itamar, and a friend to so many other people, and my best friend, along with her being my mother. My mom's love for our family was something extraordinary. If everyone was like her in this cruel world, then this world would be a much better place. I wish I could say something that would make this less hard for me as it is for everyone here, but I can't. I can't bring my mom back no matter how much I want to. I will never have a mom to call my way home from work to ask if I can pick her up something from the store, or a mom to celebrate my future birthdays with, or me getting married one day. My future kids won't have my mom as a grandma, which was always something she wished she had. These are some things I lost, just like there are many things you all individually lost when she passed away to heaven. My mom's love for people was something so unique. She was the kindest person I have ever met and probably will ever meet in my life. I mean, from her being a little kid, she was always referred to as the mitzvah girl when she lived in Jerusalem. I wish everyone on this planet could have met my mom once because of how kind and pure her soul was. She always left an unforgettable impact, whether that's on us here today or someone she's only ever met once or twice. She was truly unforgettable. I recently had a conversation with her about her talking about even with all the pain she was in, she would do it all over again for me and Daniel, just to be with us. And she told me that if she could, she would take all the pain in this world and sacrifice herself so no one could suffer. I can't think of anything better than that to describe the person she was, that she was so selfless and caring towards not just her family, but others, complete strangers. My mother's impact on not just me, but this world will never be forgotten. She was a blessing from God, and now she gets to ski in heaven now and be with people we are not fortunate to see anymore. I know Mom always wanted to meet Itamar's sister, Abishag. Now she has, just like she has met little Benny and Saba's parents. I can say she is at peace and not hurt anymore. It's not a goodbye. It's a see you later. Hugs and kisses to the moon and back, Mom. I love you, and may you finally be at peace.
I want to call up Molly to please come up. Malka, please come up and say a few words. Thank you so much, David. Very, very special.
All right, well, why don't we all have a quiet sound of applause for the impacts that Michelle has made in our lives? Just quiet. Michelle's made some really great impacts. All right. We had to do that for Michelle. Come on, guys. Michelle was born on January 20th, 1982. And in that time, she has been so much more than a name on this earth. She was a beloved sister, daughter, friend, legal guardian for her siblings, a wife, and a mother of two beautiful children whom she loved with every ounce of her heart. Michelle wasn't just any ordinary person, as we all know. She was God's true mitzvah girl. In Jewish tradition, a mitzvah means a good deed and an act of kindness, a commandment that connects heaven and earth. Being a mitzvah girl means living a life full of good deeds, constantly spreading light and joy and kindness to those around her. And Michelle embodied that with everything that she did. She was an extraordinary force of love and laughter, as we all know. Her laugh was contagious. And her energy was electrifying. And her perfectly timed social cues could make anyone burst out laughing, even if we really didn't want to laugh. She was funny, and she was silly, and she was spontaneous and full of life. And she loved skiing, and she loved God, and loved people with a depth that is rare to find. She was the most giving person I have ever met in my life. An example of generosity and grace that I will strive to live up to in her honor. She was my sister. She was my mom, my friend. Most of all, she was my soulmate. My greatest days on earth have been with her, and I know Isla would say the same. Michelle, you are missed. You are loved. And every tear shed for you will forever be worth it. Because it means we had the privilege of knowing and loving you.
I want to call up Danielle now, share some special words. Thank you, Malka, for those special words.
If there was one thing my mom taught me, it was that you should stay true to who you are. I remember in 2020, when lockdown started, my mom flew me and David to Florida dressed in onesies of our favorite Fortnite skins. We were so embarrassed, but my mom didn't care. She cared about our health. She always put us, as well as everyone, first, even when she was put last. And she taught me that love has no boundaries. In 2021, when I was in the hospital, I didn't know how my life would turn out. But my mom was the one person who stood by my side, advocating for me, motivating me, and simply loving me. She always kept my spirits up and made me laugh on the hardest days. I remember last year, we were at the dermatologist, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack because my mom somehow managed to fall and get stuck in between two chairs. She never failed to embarrass me, but I now know that it was really just her showing her love. 3 days ago, my mom sent me a text message explaining how she wants to be in my life, how she wants to be at my graduation, how she wants to be there when I get married, and how she wants to be there when I have my first child. The last time I saw my mom was at the Morgan Wallen concert in Cleveland last month. I thought it was a bad idea going given her medical problems, but she convinced me, saying it would be a lifelong memory for both of us. And oh boy, was she right. I would do anything to turn back time to see her just one more time, so she could hear the words "I love you," which I rarely told her. We've had a rocky relationship in the past year. Parts of me resented her for her medical struggles. Parts of me just wanted to go back to the times when we could make red velvet cake together on a Saturday afternoon. She was only 43 years old. However, she accomplished and touched more hearts than most people do in 100 years. Everywhere she went, she left a mark, making friends and helping people no matter where she was, even if it meant she had to put herself last. Every time I was upset in the car, she would always play a cringy Taylor Swift song on max volume to try to get me to cheer up, even if it meant I got more annoyed. She never changed who she was and her values for anyone. She's the type of woman I hope I can find one day because she truly is one in a million. She built my family, and I promise you, Mom, that we will always be there for each other, just like you were for us. For the past 5 years, every Sunday, my mom and I have watched our TV shows together, which was a foundation in our relationship. And now I don't have anyone to watch my shows with. She only ever wanted what was best for me. And that's why she encouraged me to move to Indiana, to get a new environment where I would strive. And now it feels like I abandoned you. I don't know what to do right now because the person I would ask isn't here to tell me. My favorite meal she would make is her mashed potatoes with steak, and she would always give me the biggest steak because she knew it was my favorite food. I'll never forget how you helped me learn how to bake, and I loved when I made cookies and you made Edmar do the dishes so I didn't have to. Nothing I can say will make it hurt less because every good memory we have is a memory worth keeping. Though she might not physically be there at my graduation, my wedding, or when I hold my first child, I know she'll be there looking after me like she has my whole life.
Wow, thank you. And I want to call up Benjamin or Benjamin. Who's gonna- Is that? I didn't have him on the list. No problem. Saba, you want to share a few words, please?
Michelle was very, very special, beyond words. And every day I would pray for her to get better. You take it. Good. Pain is too deep. Too deep.
Well, I'm here and thank you everybody for being here. And so I've come a long way. Michelle is here. She's been with me from the very, very beginning. Whether it was in Israel, making sure that we were safe in the hardest times, and meeting Itamar or being in Patterson Air Force Base to have these two beautiful children, and supporting me as her brother and her brothers and sisters. And trust me, we've been through a lot. And, Michelle, I love you. I know you're always here, and I know you're with little Benny. And I can tell you that we all are going to miss you. And, thank you for being such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person. And, um, and you will be missed. And I love you with all my heart. I love you with all my heart. And thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I want to ask Gabe now to please come up and share a few words.
We'll be all right. Okay, good. Come on, come on. You got this, you got it. One more step. I got it. I got it.
What I would like to say to my sister is thank you for everything that you've done for me over the years. I know it hasn't been easy. We had our ups and downs, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I remember that I moved out of London Green and I got a chance to live in the basement with David and Daniel, and I wouldn't change that for the world because I love David and Daniel. And Michelle told me to do a promise when she died to look after David and Daniel and always be together no matter what. And I'm gonna keep that promise. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I love you. And you're not separate anymore. And, you're up there with little Benny, so. And you're not in pain. And I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for me and the family and Shabbat as well.
David, do you want to say anything first?
Firma's gonna share a few words, and then
And Alan as well. I'm gonna keep it really short. Is everything okay? If there's one thing that I loved about Michelle, even through her hardest times, she was always one to pick us up when we fell. She was an angel, a savior. She was willing to always put herself in front of the ones she loved, even in pain of herself. And for that, I love her. And I will always honor her for that. I got to spend the last year I got to spend the last year being with her where her and I got to feel. We did pedicures. We went dancing. We sang. We decorated our apartments together. I bought her a cute pink rug for the bottom of the room that she wanted for her piece. And also we had a huge share pile with the sisters that we always, I loved what we had and we shared was unforgettable. I'm so happy for the memories her and I. Sorry. She now is and will ever be my angel.
Larry asked us, what's his, Alan asked to share a few words. And then we're gonna conclude the service. Thank you.
I was very, I was very, I met Carrie and through her, I I met Michelle. I was sort of like the last caboose of Zellers. I she she taught me so for 2 years. She taught me everything in 2 years. And and she always would say to me, uh, Alan, you're an old guy. You're 79 years old. And she said, Alan, I'm supposed to carry you. And and the everything said by her, by people here, was actually was wonderful. I have now uh, adjusted my my speech. Uh, Michelle, to me, was everything. She treat me just like I was part of the family, as everyone said. She 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 would smile and laugh at my jokes, and that's pretty hard to do. And and she, I met her in the last 2 years, where she was going to the end, and I would call her my sleeping beauty. Now, of course, last night my printer died. Excuse me, and I just have a couple words here. Of course, we talked about it, Air Force. Could somebody give me her Air Force hat over there? Uh, she loved being in the Air Force. After the Air Force, she was one of the top uh, uh, top uh, well, she was I forgot what it was, but it was, and oh, she was a contractor for uh, many uh, contracts. She was a top of her game, and she would do. She got. I one time she showed me her office, and she showed me all these kudos she got. Kudo. And she didn't want to take care of that, but I knew. And uh, and then I just want to end this by saying, okay, you're young, I'm old, I got to like this. Okay, I would say, oh, she was a mitzvah woman. And she was a mitzvah for everyone, for everyone. Living in Colorado during the pandemic, and I'll skip that when I met her, I loved her and she loved me. Michelle was, to her sons, she loved them. And she would, so as far as the boys went and her went, she was a sports enthusiast. That's Avalanche, Nuggets, football, and not the Colorados. They, she held back on that. And she said to me, I introduced to her, when you come to the fork in the road, take it. She thought that was wonderful, and it was. And she said after that, I was part of Hashim's plan. He was her plan, and I could say, you always somebody a plan. And so when you came to the Falkland Road.
Thank you so much, Alan. This is really, really special. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to ask now a dear friend, a friend of mine, Rabbi Boaz, who also knew Michelle very well, to please come up and say a prayer and a few words. And then we're going to finish off with Itamar, who's going to close us out before the final prayers.
I did not imagine that we'll have such a Zeller reunion in such a place, but I remember I was a young chaplain captain coming out of the army, going to the VA hospital and trying to get myself used to the civilian world. I walk in the hospital and this woman runs after me, says, "Nice to see it." I'm like, I right away, my Jewish senses turn around and says, "Are you Jewish?" She's like, "Of course I am." And I said, well, we had a few conversations. She was a Jew on fire. And they said, come over to our house. Just come over. Come meet my wife, Chaya. So she said, of course. So that's how our relationship started in 2013. She came over and we realized we are dealing with a beautiful Jewish woman who's all about self-sacrifice for her family, for other Jewish people. And we thought she's by herself. In the beginning, she says, well, we have 2 sons. And then slowly, another brother, another sister, then Saba, Gabriel, Ben, David. And suddenly, the whole amazing family, you're realizing you're getting married, not just to Michelle over here, you're getting married to the Zeller family. And it has been such an amazing experience. It started, she was in fire straight from the Air Force to get back on in her Judaism. And we tried to do everything we can to give it to her. And actually, it was when we met, it was just a few months, just a little bit before now, in 2013. And when the high holidays were coming up, we had guys that were going to New York to 770 to celebrate by the synagogue of the Rabbi Milubavitch. So Michelle heard that. She said, what is this? I said, listen, Michelle, you go over there, go for Yom Kippur, you're going to be on fire. Like we said, a woman of self-sacrifice and some spontaneous. She's like, okay, no problem, I'm going. I said, I wasn't sure if she's really serious about it. And the week later, she's like, okay, Rabbi, can you help me out with all of the situation over there to get a space, this, that. I'm going. I got already a flight ticket. And little did I know she's already going to Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah to spend over there in New York. She comes back. Knew how was it? Wow, she was all on fire and everything. She met. She already had all Crown Heights was already her friends, her best friends. And knew I was yes. I even donated for a Torah. She donated for a Torah, and it finishes that when yesterday I heard about this unbelievable news that I would never dream about from Itamala. And yesterday we're bringing a new Torah into the synagogue, and the Torah represents our life and who we are, and the continuation of Am Yisrael Chai. And I said right away to Itamala, we'll dedicate in the Torah, a section in the Torah for her soul, because she continues to live within each and every one of us, like Rabbi Mintz said, within each and every one of us throughout all of those years that we've been a family. Michelle, all she cared about whenever I would come to her house, whether mezuzot, blowing of the shofar, Chanukah, Passover, she's like, hey, what about Gabriel? What about Saba? What about Ben? What about little Benny? Everybody, what about David? Everybody, she has to make sure that everybody's Lafayette. How can Lafayette? How can I make sure you take care of them, Rabbi? Make sure you take care of them. Make sure you take care of them. This a woman of self-sacrifice that every high holiday, every Shabbat, when she was in the Springs, every Shabbat, Gabriel, even if I cannot make it, Gabriel, you come. She will drive Gabriel. She said, Ben, you come. Saba. And obviously, and she would go, yes, yes. She was the fire. She was the fire and she's the fire. And within each and every one of us to continue this fire that she brought, the fire of Judaism, of self-sacrifice for her family, for our Jewish people around her. And a walking Torah, a walking mitzvah girl. Yes, yes, a walking mitzvah girl. So it's a tremendous honor and pleasure to be your friend, Michal Rivka. And you'll stay with us forever. And I hope we'll continue bringing the work of self-sacrifice for other Jewish people, for other brothers and sisters like you did.
Thank you. Likewise. Anna's going to come up and share some special words all the way from Boston.
First, thank you for everybody coming out in honor of Michelle. I'm going to be speaking a little bit unconventionally. My language is going to be in Hebrew. And it's going to be short. We're missing a lot of people up here that love her. But either way, מיכל, אני אוהבת אותך כל כך הרבה. לא חשבתי שאני לא אדבר איתך עוד יום. לא חשבתי שאני לא אראה אותך עוד פעם. אני רק רוצה להגיד לך שילדים והבעל, they're going to miss you כל כך הרבה. And bottom of my heart, to my dear sister, you had a heart of gold. When you put your mind to a task, you did not stop at all cost. Better or worse, you were always there. I love you. And thank you again for everybody coming. תודה.
Got him?
Thank you, thank you. Those special, special words. And last but not least, Acharon Chaviv, want to call up Itamar. Please come up and share some special words.
Sophie with us also. Sophie was Michelle's service dog. She saved her life many times. She had such a special place in our heart and in our home. Michelle was a special soul. She was my dear wife. I loved and love her so much. I have many things that I want to say to her. I will do it in private. There is a special song that a Jewish man sings to his, basically to respect the Shabbat, but in simplicity to praise the ideal woman, his wife. And I'm gonna read it. It's something that Michelle really, really loved. I'm gonna read it in Hebrew. It's, if you guys want to look it up later, it's have a very strong word. It's woman of valor. אשת חיל מי ימצא ורחוק מפניני מכרע, בטח בלב בעלה ושלה לא יחסר. גהם על טעותו ולא רע, כל ימי חייה, דרשה צמא ופשתים בצץ וחפץ כפיה. הייתה כאוניות סוחר, ממרחק תביא לחמה, ותקום בעוד לילה ותיתן טרף לביתה וחוק לנערותיה. זמם השדה ותיקחר, ומפרי כפיה נטעה כרם, חגרה בעוז מותניה ותאמץ זרועותיה. טעמה כי טוב שכרה ולא יכבה בלילה נראה, ידיה על שלך בקישור וכפיה תמחופה לך. כפה פרסה לעני וידיה שלך לאביון, לא תירא לביתה משל ככל ביתה לבושנים. מרבדים עשתה לה 6 וארגמן לבושה, נולדה בשער עם בעלה בשבטו עם זקני הארץ. סדין עשתה ותמכור וחגור נתנה לכנעני, עוז והדר לבושה ותשחק ליום אחרון. פיה פתחה בחוכמה ותורת חסד על לשונה, צופייה הליכות ביתה ולחם עצלות לא תאכל. קמו בניה וישוע בעלה ויהללה, רבות בנו תעשו חיל ואת עלית על כולנה. שקר החן והבל היופי שיירת אדוני, היא תתהלל תנו להם פרי ידיה, ויעלוה בשערים מעשיה. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. The Torah tells us, Dvarim yotzim min halev, words that come from the heart, nichnasim al halev, go straight to enter the heart. And what we heard here today, certainly more than most funerals, but you're able to see that it comes from the heart, from one heart, standing us, all of us together, almost like as the Torah calls us, ish echad b'lev echad. So many different people, but yet with one heart, we're so connected to Michelle and how the special neshama, the special soul that she truly was. I want to just recognize the few people who didn't speak, to say thank you for being here. You meant so much to her. I want to mention Rima, her dear friend, and really everyone who's here. Her Michelle's neshama feels you, and this is called the ultimate kindness, chesed shel emet, to be here during this time. We're going to continue the rest of the prayers at the cemetery. So I'm going to ask everyone, they're going to, from the mortuary, they're going to give you directions of what to do. And we'll continue the funeral procession to the cemetery, to Rose Hill Cemetery. Thank you. And the service will continue soon.